Farms back. We're live again.
Way too early first look, week 1. Yeah. And it's just like, this is a fun time. I mean, we're only a couple of weeks out, and this is going to change, right? But it's good to jump in here now and get a feel for what you want to do. And I think the best advice I was ever given from a DFS perspective, and I think you hold this true as well, is go through each game and build a stack as if that would be your central game. And it gives you a great feel for what expectations are. And that's how you kind of, get a great feel for the slate. So, okay, in this first game, and there's tons of games you want to X off, but generally this is what we're going to operate with, is like, okay, this is our central game, build as if this is the central game, and then move on from there. And it gives you a good understanding of how to build and, certain game sets, because this is good as well as I do. Yes, teams full of one-offs could win, but mostly it's game stack central. It's team stack, game stack. It doesn't need to be necessarily stacking the entire game, but just getting some of the correlation pieces in there. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go game by game today, talk about some of the early leans, some of our pricing, and what we like there.
I agree with that. Yeah, I would say, follow that principle. And generally speaking, like within that, there's usually like 2 to 3 game environments that I stack up, like that are core. Like, and I think, in terms of process, that makes sense to go through every game and have that like as your core game when you're like understanding and maybe dissecting who to play from the game. But like when it comes, because of how we play, we're not 150 entry maxers. Usually it's like at most 3 core teams I'm playing from or games I'm playing from. And then it's like even in some slates, it's even smaller. Sometimes it's 1 core game and I just filter in pieces outside that game as, tertiary pieces. But like for the most part, I would say at most it's a 3 game like set that I use. And I think you do the same. Again, we're not 150 maxers. So there are people that have like, they'll do 20% exposure everywhere. And they feel like in those situations, their optimizers give them enough chance to win because it's spread out exposure everywhere. And like, there are ways you can win that way for sure. But I think, it's 2 schools of thought. Football wise, I think it'll be interesting. There's 2 guys I want to talk about real fast before we dive into DFS. 2 guys that we were touting recently that I'm seeing negative news today about. One guy I'll start with my guy, Keon Coleman. Looked great. I saw him in a walking boot, and like apparently it's like a toe issue. But this is, and I heard someone say this. I don't want to steal someone's credit, but they're like, if you miss preseason, it's like it's hard to get on. I think Mike Tomlin's the guy that said it. Mike Tomlin's like, it's hard to get on aboard a moving ship. So like when the season kicks off, it's like if you're not on board, like it's really tough to reintegrate you, which is why like you heard that about JSN his first season. It's like JSN, look how good JSN was, like, but then his first season he was hurt, right, and they couldn't adapt to the offense. Roman Wilson for the Steelers, that's who Mike Tomlin was quoting in that quote. It was just like, and it makes sense. It's like, so I do have some concern with these guys. Like Luther Burden is a good example. Like I like Luther Burden a lot, but like if he's not getting active reps, like I am, it's not going to be a hot start to the season.
Correct. And you don't need that necessarily in best ball, but in week to week, even if you start week 1, maybe temper expectations.
That's what I mean. Yeah, in this context, it's even more important because it's like, I think Burden will be back week 1. I think even Keon Coleman will be back week 1. But like those guys, it's like missing that time is detrimental to, especially to the start at least. The other guy I want to mention is Jack Besh. 30 minutes ago, I saw a report that was like Malik Benson is pushing to steal Jack Besh's job, and I'm like, and this is okay. I read the report because I wanted to like dig deeper, and like it wasn't convincing. It was like a beat writer that was like, could potentially usurp Jack Beck for the receiver 3 role. Has looked good in camp. But then I'm like, what I saw on the field was like pretty good for Jack Beck. I don't know if they're.
My biggest caveat to that is I see what you're saying, but he plays behind Naylor, and why he does that is Jack Beck and Benson are very different players. Benson's a burner. Jack Beck's the guy that wins with his hands, can play that big slot role. So I don't disagree. He's had a good camp as well. So I totally understand that there. I just think that the roles they play are a little different.
Yeah. I don't know. So those are just 2 pieces. There's other stuff I saw coming out of camp, like Isaiah Likely. This is just real quick. We'll just dive in this because then I'm just curious your thoughts. I don't know if you've seen this. Is all kind of recent news. Isaiah Likely is like clearly the number 1, not tight end in New York, but like the number 1 target getter. Like he's like the guy that, and it makes sense. It makes sense. Like I think Isaiah Likely could be like, I mean, he's not going to be better than Neighbors. Obviously, Neighbors is another guy that I think will have a slow start, but Isaiah Likely's got to keep your eye on. Malachi Fields has looked good, but man, I still think like that passing attack's not going to be great there.
The Giants are not going to be good. I'm pretty confident in that. But let's
okay. Last thing. Sorry. And the last one is the Parker Washington thing. So like obviously everyone is just like Parker Washington's receiver one in Jacksonville, and I think that could be the case. I'm curious how they use Brian Thomas. I still am a believer. Brian Thomas is probably more talented.
And this is the same as me. Is like I think it's good that that's a good team, and I think Brian Thomas is going to rely on these big plays, and that's fine for best ball. I'll have a good mix of both, and I think both guys are valuable because of the offensive environment. And that's why you liked him. And Parker Washington he might get more targets, right? But it's those high value targets where Brian Washington and I mean Brian Thomas has a pretty hard quarterback matchups for the first few weeks, so he might be dormant there. But I think there's going to be spike weeks for Brian Thomas.
I think so too.
A more talented receiver.
Yeah, it's weird because like Parker Washington may be the better receiver, but I feel like if both guys stay healthy and like Brian Thomas just returns to like rookie Brian Thomas, I think Brian Thomas could be more impactful, right? If that makes sense. I think like Parker Washington could be like the steady Eddie, which could there's pros and cons to both those guys. I've been drafting both of them. I liked it. I'm high in Jacksonville, so I'm getting both guys. That's really. I mean, there's tons of news out there. Go read it. Kind of don't react too much to it. Just pay attention to what's going on. You want to kick us off with the first game, Dylan? Do you have the price?
We're just going to go game by game based on DraftKings. Yeah. This first game is a game, once again, go through every central game, say this is a game I want to target. But it's a game you probably want to stay away from in general. But we have the Jets visiting the Titans here. Obviously, everyone's cheap in this game. Cam Ward at quarterback's 5-1, Geno Smith's 4-6. That being said, I don't know if you want too much exposure. You have Breece Hall, 6'2", Tony Pollard, 5'6". I'm just going through the starters real fast, just to give you a good understanding. Garrett Wilson, 5'8", Tate, 5'3", Wandell, 4'8". And then this is probably where you're going to see the biggest impact as far as ownership goes. Is you have the Titans at 31 and the Jets at 2.5. The Jets at 2.5 stand out in this particular spot because they're probably the cheapest viable defense, and they facing a Titans team that has probably the worst offensive line in football. So it's just like a spot. We know they're a slow team anyways. It's a good spot, I think, to pick up the Jets. Is kind of a single entry stand. And you're not going to be alone. They're probably going to be the highest owned defense on the slate. Looking at it right now.
Yeah. Okay. I think there's two things here. The reason that they're going to be high owned is not because they're a good defense, because they're actually a bottom 5 defense in the league. They're very bad on defense, and they won't be any better this season. The reason they're going to be owned is because of the issues you mentioned with Tennessee and the price of the Jets defense. So like, I think this is like, I mean, if I'm being honest, like Cam Ward and like Gunnar Helm stack, like that is like a singular stack. I like that a little bit. Like Gunnar Helm is 3.2, Cam Ward is 5K. Like those two pieces. Like if I'm looking from this game, like if I do anything, I don't think Geno Smith is like. I don't know what the Jets are going to be doing on offense. At least we know what they're going to be doing with Cam Ward. So like Cam Ward, Gunnar Helm, even like Wandell, I think is interesting here. I do prefer like Gunnar Helm at 3.2 is just great value. He's looked phenomenal. He looked like a prime pass catch for them. And I think this is when you play him before Calvin Ridley gets back, because I think Ridley will, if he does play, he'll be limited fashion. So I'm interested in like the Tennessee side as a cheap value stack. Even like Gunnar Helm is like a one-off 3-2 value tight end if you're doing like 2 tight end builds.
Yeah, for the milli maker, right?
But yeah, that's what I mean. This is not single entry. This is more just and so like I do. But with that said, like I think the Jets defense is really bad on paper. They look really bad. They're not projected to be any better this season.
A great defensive coach though, and the biggest thing here is what does Cam Ward do? His biggest bugaboo is he holds the ball too long.
He gets sacked, dude. 100%, dude. This
he can give up 4 or 5
sacks. The case is pretty much any defense, and this is a bottom 5 defense. Any defense against this Tennessee Titans at that price is in play. That's the case you're making is true. It's like the price is just like against a team that Cam Ward will turn the ball over. Like I don't think, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm at, Dylan. I do feel like the Tennessee side is to me the lean though. Like I think I would prefer that. I do, and if there's gonna be high ownership for the Jets defense, I just won't play because I think defense is very
there will be high ownership. Yeah. So let's move on to the next game. Yeah, there's not much in this game we want to get pieces of. There's another game. It's going to be more difficult to break down. We have Cleveland visiting Jacksonville. We have Trevor Lawrence at 5'8", Deshaun Watson is 4'7". I'm going to assume Deshaun Watson is the starter as of now. At running back, we have Tootin at 5'8", we have Judkins at 5'5", and we have your boy Dylan Sampson at 4'7". We'll go to receivers now. We have Parker Washington 5'6", BTJ 5'5", Jacoby Myers 5K, and then we have the cheap Cleveland pass catchers there. We have Casey Concepcion at 4'6", Boston 4'4", Judy 4'1". Let's go ahead and look at tight end as well. We have Fandon at 4'2", Brenton Strange at 3'6". I don't think you want to play defense in this game, but if you did, you have the Browns at 2'1", and you have Jacksonville at 3'4". At this game, first lean was like maybe interested in Tootin if you have a little bit of dialed back Chris Rodriguez. But this is a game where I don't know, Denzel Ward's an elite cornerback. So that's going to be really tough matchup for BTJ. He's a top 5 cornerback easily in the league.
Yeah, but just real quick, Cleveland is preseason worst, the number one worst defense in the entire league across the board. Yeah, Denzel Ward is still like a top 15. I think he's the middle of the.
No, he's top 5. He might be number 1.
I don't think he is. I don't think he is.
Said, who is the hardest quarterback?
Yeah, but that's not. But I don't think the metrics that. Let me. I'll look. I'll keep talking. I'll look.
Denzel easily a top 5 cornerback in the league.
No, he's not. I don't think so.
Easily is. And so for me in this game, if you had asked me if I could just play one guy, it's probably going to be Bashal Tootin. I still think he has the explosives there. Jared Verse is going to be good. He's a huge addition to this team. Probably going to be their best defensive player outside of Denzel Ward. But yeah, for me in this spot, I'm not touching Cleveland. I know like you can potentially take some stabs on these young guys. As Taylor mentioned, though, it takes time to get up to speed here. So, like, you want to take a stab on Casey Concepcion. I think Jacksonville is going to take a step back this year. So, if you think this game shoots out, maybe getting a Deshaun Watson disgusting double stack with Casey Concepcion and Jerry Jeudy, or Denzel Boston's not a bad play and running it back with Tootin. So, if I was building this as my central kind of thesis on the slate, I would definitely be stacking up the Cleveland side. It's kind of a contrarian. Hopefully, they can keep up with the fast pace and very scoring efficient Jacksonville offense.
Yeah, I'm interested in some Jacksonville pieces. I didn't really. DFS is tricky though, Dylan, because I don't know which one of these guys goes off. And I think at this point in the season, with enough uncertainty, week 1, I don't know if I'll get here. I think there's like some interest in the Jacksonville side. Real quick on the cornerback list, I'll list them off the top 5 in order here. Pat Surtain, number 1, makes sense. Number 2, Derek Stingley. Number 3, Devon Witherspoon, makes sense. Sauce Gardner, number 4. Trent McDuffie, number 5. Christian Gonzalez, number 6, which is crazy because Christian Gonzalez got that bag. Quinyon Mitchell, number 7. Denzel Ward, number 8. AJ Terrell Jr., number 9, and Jalen Johnson, number 10. But what I'm gonna say is this: the Jets and the Cleveland Browns defense, the Jets defense has Sauce Gardner.
No,
where's he at now?
Remember the Colts? He played for the Colts.
The Colts. Right. You're right.
The problem is, I mean this. Sauce Gardner is overrated, and I watched
so
him. He's not a good shutdown corner. Like he's not going to travel.
So, but what I'm saying is this: Denzel Ward is he's a top 3rd cornerback for sure. But that doesn't the defense. If by all metrics, number 1 rated worst defense this season is Cleveland Browns. Major questions at every level. Lost contributors across the board. Like they're going to be in shambles. That's why I like Dylan Sampson. Like this season, we didn't talk about that much, but the reason I like Sampson and DFS, I feel like they're going to be playing from behind all game, every game. Like
you're going to see Taylor in a Million Maker team have Dylan Sampson without a doubt.
Yeah.
And it's not
bad. Yeah, I don't love it though still because I don't think the Browns score much here. Like I think Deshaun Watson's better than. I think he could be better than average quarterback, but I'm not highly on. This is like if the smart man, you know who you should play in this game, Dylan. And this is the first look, so we're like talking out. The smart play in this game is easily one guy.
Who?
It's the easiest and the smartest play, and he's too cheap. Is Parker Washington at 5'6"? He makes the most sense. He's gonna get a bunch of targets. He's looked great. Like I don't see why he wouldn't play. And I thought, and I've seen people on the.
It's easily gonna be on. Denzel Ward's easily gonna be on BTJ there, so it does make the most sense.
And I saw a lot of people building their teams. Like first guy they plug in Parker Washington, and let's be real, guys, it does make sense. He looks really good on the and I don't hate it because from a DFS angle, it's like he feels pretty safe for like a 17-point outcome here. And you take that at that price. The price is why it's so interesting. So nothing else for me to add though. I think we can go to the next game, which will be a fun one because I think this was one we're both high on somewhat.
Yeah, and I think this is a game where I've been looking early on to see how can I avoid this game because it's the highest over under. And I think we'll go talk about that teams first. We have the Buccaneers visiting the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals defense is going to take a huge step forward this year with the additions they've added. But we have Joe Burrow at 6'9", Baker Mayfield at 5'9", so kind of paying up a quarterback there. We have running backs, Chase Brown at 7'1", Bucky Irvin 5'7". We'll go to the receivers now. Obviously, creme de la creme. Jamar Chase 7'8", T. Higgins 6'3". A banged up Emeka should be fine for week 1. Might be turf toe, could be an issue 5'2". And then Chris Godwin, I really like it 5'2".
Dude, I love Godwin at that price. Yeah.
But then we have
Godwin. The issue with real quick on Godwin. The issue with Godwin is always the health. Like you play Godwin to be in the season where he's not hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially when Mecca's banged up, and I do think the Bengals are going to take a step forward. They have a good outside corner there as well. So Godwin could just eat in the center of the field in this matchup. Yeah. And if you want me to have a little mini right here, to be Chase Brown and Chris Godwin and just pass everything else in this game. I think you're going to get high ownership here.
It's funny. I'm building a mock team right now. These are 3 guys I have, and I have Chase Brown, I have Chris Godwin, and I'm doing it game by game, and Parker Washington. Those are the 3 guys I have so far. And it feels good. You feel good about all those picks. But I'm with you, and I didn't mean to cut you off. Continue what you were saying. Tight ends are relevant. It's
Gesicki and Otten, both in the 3K range. No one you really want to target there, probably. But yeah, this is a game where I do think Cincinnati takes a step forward on defense this year. And I don't think it hurts their offense, but I think it hurts certain game environments. And this could be one of them, especially if Mecca's hurt. The Tampa Bay offensive line is still a question mark, right? So we know they can get after it. But Chris Godwin would probably be my priority from the Tampa side, and from the Bengals side would probably be Chase Brown.
Yeah, I think this is how I felt. This game will be an absolute shootout. The thing is, which pieces do you need, right? I think this game will be like 31-27.
That's why I question the shootout nature.
No, but what I'm saying is, even with that, like I'm thinking about playing 2 guys from this game. You want the game to be a shootout. Like a shootout still benefits all the guys I'm playing. Chris Godwin, Chase Brown. Just because the game's a shootout doesn't mean like you need everyone from the game, right? I think if I'm playing 2 guys, I feel like that game's going to go over, and I feel like this is a script that like Baker Mayfield's going to come out, not getting contract he wanted. He's going to gunsling all game. I think the team will take a step forward, but that's what Baker's going to do all game. And I do think like I love Chase Brown a lot because he's used in every formation. He's going to be used if they're up. He's going to be used if they're down. And so I'm just in on this game a lot. But I think the issue you mentioned with Cincinnati is the balanced nature of it. Like Higgins could go for 1, Chase could go for 1, Chase could go, Brown could go for 2. Like that's where you kind of run into like, okay, who do you play? I'm high on Emeka Buka. I think he'll be lower owned potentially if the injury tag still exists. But
Turner on the outside is a pretty good cornerback as well, though. And like I said,
DJ Turner is good. He's he's not on this list, but he's got to be probably top 15.
Yeah, so I mostly agree with you. And that's mostly. So, like, I just think Chase Brown, the way they're running in the formation and the way I see this game playing out, I can see the Bengals clearing this game pretty good. And I think he'd be a valuable pickup of where he is there. So, anything else out in this game as I watch Trevor Rogers give up a run? Just hold. Just another strikeout. 6 Ks is great. If you can keep it 3 or less.
Yeah, I think this game to me is fairly easy. You do play. I think Chase Brown just makes a ton of sense. He's expensive, 7-1. But I think pricing's kind of weak. We mentioned Parker Washington. We mentioned Chris Godwin. Guys, I really like in this spot. I think this game will be a shootout. The reason I'm considering playing multiple players and these are from both sides is because I think this game will be high scoring. There'll be a lot of volume to go around, and which is good because you want to target that, right? Like you're not gonna have guys low volume, high point outcomes from teams that don't like put up points. So that's it from this game. Let's hit the next one here.
This is a sneaky game on the slate for me, and a game I'm going to target heavily, and I'm not sure in what capacity yet, but it's going to be, we have Baltimore visiting the Colts. And sometimes people see this game and may think defense on paper, but I think both these teams pace adjusted or run a really fast pace. You have Lamar Jackson 6'8", Daniel Jones 5'4". We'll go to running back. We have Jonathan Taylor 7'3", Derrick Henry 6'7". And that receiver is really what I want to target here. We have Zay Flowers at 6'4", and then Josh Downs at 5'2". I'm just talking about some of the primary options here. We'll go to tight end now. We have Tyler Warren at 4'9" and Mark Andrews at 3'9", and that's really where I'm landing. I love the intermediate guys in this game. I love Zay. I know Sauce Gardner is very good, but he's not going to be able to. He runs a different type of corner route than Zay can. Zay can eat him up in this spot. So I really like Zay a whole lot in this matchup. Same with Josh Downs. I think the middle of the field is going to be wide open here. It could be a fast-paced game. I could be talking to Daniel Jones, Josh Downs, Tyler Warren mini. But there's a quarterback I want to talk about a little bit later. He's probably going to be my favorite quarterback on the slate.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, I really do like this game. I think Zay Flowers and Josh Downs could both get 10+ catches in this game. And I'm going to lean heavily into this because of the pace metrics of this game. It's going to be a game I'm going to be heavily targeting, but not from the running back perspective. It's going to be mostly through the air.
Yeah, it's at, in the dome too, which is nice. I'm on with you. I love Zay in this spot. I think Zay could go receiver 1 this season at 6'3". I feel like, or 6'4". I think that's a fair price. Again, pricing is still a little softer, but like I like Zay a lot. I'm in. I want to see how Daniel Jones progresses with this injury thing, right? Like as long as he's like healthy enough, and we see enough of him in the preseason or like practice that I feel good about it. Maybe I would consider, but I think to me the lean is just Baltimore. I don't hate even like Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers. Like you could actually, and there's a quarterback I like later that's like mini Lamar. I think you like him too, but like he's really not that expensive. Like he could be 1,000 more in a couple weeks. So, yeah. So I think the A side, if I'm just choosing one play from this game, it is the Zay Flowers at receiver. And I'm not going to touch running backs at this point. I'm not going to touch Henry or Jonathan Taylor, although like those guys in any given game are great individual plays. So don't totally ignore them.
Back to baseball. I'm happy with the Trevor Rogers line. 6 innings, 6 Ks, 2 earned, quality start there, and he gets the win. Happy with his performance there.
How many strikeouts?
6.
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah. So like I said, you're happy with that performance for sure. All right, let's keep this train on the tracks. Let's go to the next game here. Curious what your favorite QB on the slate is, but let's keep it moving. Next up, we have Buffalo visiting Houston. This is a game where, man, you can build it with a central thesis again, but I don't know if you're going to want to get heavy exposure to this in single one. We have Josh Allen at 7K, CJ Stroud at 5.2. And I'll talk about the side I really like in a second, but we have James Cook at 7.2, David Montgomery at 6K. And they're already giving David Montgomery a pretty good price there. Nico Collins, 7K, DJ Moore, 5.6, Shakir, 4.8, Jaden Higgins, 4.5.
You mean pretty good prices? Like he's cheap because they put Bashal Tune at 5.8 and Montgomery's 6K even. Like it's not.
And then Kincaid at 4.6, Schultz at 3.4. So for me in this game, if you ask me a side I'd want to play, is because I think the Bills can score, right? But this is a tough defense, really a team you don't want to get after too much. I think the Houston side would be interesting, getting a Higgins, getting a Stroud, getting a Schultz, kind of that combination. And if their defense shows up and can keep it competitive with Josh Allen, I do like that as a mini stack there. From the Bills side, I probably don't play them. It's just a team I generally avoid in DFS. And then they're going against Houston here. So it's just, I don't really want to target this whatsoever. It would be the Higgins, a couple of one-offs here, but probably not getting a stack. The central stack for me in this game, surprisingly enough, would probably be the Houston stack.
Yeah, I'm out on Buffalo. I think that you're just the guy that's just the most obviously good play. And I don't know why you're not even David Montgomery. The Bills last season got cooked by the running back in every single. They're horrible against the run. I think Sean Tucker came in and ran for 3 touchdowns against him. And it's like,
I know, but we got to temper. Me and you are both high in certain guys.
No, I understand that, but the matchup is just so good. Like, yeah, I get that. And like, dude, but he's also cheap. He's 6K and he's going. It's a great matchup to start the season. It'll be a competitive game. They're gonna give him the rock 25 times. He's gonna get 25 touches in this game. Like, give me David Montgomery at 6K. Like, this is what I like when it's between him and Tootin. It's 100 times out of 100 I'm playing David Montgomery. Like it's 100 in this spot at the same prices. Like, I love Bashal Tootin. I'm drafting a ton of Bashal Tootin. But like David Montgomery is the best play in this game, in my opinion. I think Buffalo Bills got absolutely cooked against the run last season. They didn't bring anybody to help with that either. Like, I do think their secondary is okay, but like it's like their name of the game is they run the ball well and they get run. They've got run on just so consistently. And so until I see that change, I'm gonna play running backs against them. And I love David Montgomery here. That's it, man. Yeah. Other than that, I won't do much else. The interesting thing would be like David Montgomery, and I think a contrary thing to do is play like Houston's defense. Josh Allen turns the ball over a lot.
I think playing that is a great angle there. It's
because Houston's defense is like arguably the best defense in the league, and Josh Allen, what the problem? He holds on to the ball too long. He gives up sacks. And he likes to throw the ball up in there.
We saw that happen. I think in a showdown, I played the Houston defense, and they absolutely mauled Josh.
Cooked him, yeah. Because it's like they're 2-9. Like that'd be a good way to swing it if you wanted to. All right, continue, sir.
All right, let's keep it on, keeping it on. Next game up, we have. Let me just pull it up. There's another bonanza game. People are going to target, and I think you definitely want pieces from. You have the Saints visiting the Lions here. You have Jared Goff, 6K, Tyler Shaw, 5.6. At running back, the creme de la creme, Jahmyr Gibbs. I do think he's worth it at 8K. Travis Etienne at 5.9. Receiver is a spot I really wanted to target, but I'm kind of worried about Tyson here. But we have Amon-Ra 7.5, Chris Olave 6.7, and then Jameson Williams 6K. Tyson at 5.1 is a guy that's really interesting to me, but he's already hurt. The guy, dude, he's electric, separated. Like he's a guy that could get many receptions in this game, and that Lions secondary is pretty horrible. Let's just look at tight end quickly. We have Laporta at 4.4, Juwan Johnson at 3.7. Don't want to even look at the pricing of the defense because I don't think it's relevant in this game. If I'm attacking this game, it's simply through the Jahmyr Gibbs side. I do think the Saints defense is going to be a little bit better this year, but I would love the mini of Gibbs and Tyson if he's healthy going into the season. I think the middle of the field he occupies and his ability to accumulate targets is going to be something you see a lot this year. And I know Olave has the upside, but at a 5.1, I really do like Tyson if he's healthy and ready to go. If he's missing time and missing practice, that's going to be an issue as we start the season. But I think his elite separation skills is absolutely going to show itself in this game. So you can play whatever pieces you want. This won't be my full stack game, but I totally understand it. And I'm definitely you're probably gonna see me with Jahmyr Gibbs in a lot of teams this week 1.
Yeah, I think maybe you've undersold that a little bit too. Jimmy Gibbs is the best play on the slate by far. I think you just play like week 1. It's just like play the best plays. He's the object. Like he's going to project as the number 1 point scorer, and he probably will be the number 1 point scorer. And he's too like AK is fine. Like because of like AK is a fair price. He'll be more expensive than this, but also like there's just so many other good guys we've already talked about that are fairly cheap. Like Jahmyr Gibbs to me is just like you plug and play him. This like I don't get cute. Yeah, maybe 3 other running backs outscore him, but I just don't think so. Like the floor is 22, 23 points here. Like and there's upside for 40. This game could be somewhat competitive, but like even if it's not like either way, no matter what the game script, it benefits Jahmyr Gibbs. And like, dude, I like to play these workhorses when they're healthy too. There's no workload restriction. Like these guys are just clean slate running backs. Like give me a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm going double running back. Former Lion, current Lion, so I'm in on Gibbs. I think he's just clearly the best player in the entire slate. Just play him, build around him, and then build your stacks. And nothing else that I don't like. I want to watch and wait on the Saints. I think the Detroit Lions could be like one of the best. Like they're a top 5 team in the league. So like I think everyone was hurt on defense. I think this could be tough sledding for them in Detroit. This feels more like a 27-10 game where like it's kind of one-sided. Detroit just kind of steamrolls them at home. So give me a whole boatload of Jahmyr Gibbs though.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Just especially why it's early in the season. He's healthy. Let's go to the next game. This is a game I haven't quite understood how I want to break it down yet, but we have the Falcons visiting the Steelers. We have Rodgers at 5-3, Tua at 4-8. Probably going to be the starter is Tua there. At running back, we have Bijan at 7-7. Jalen Warren is 5-2. Rico Dowdle is 5. No, so that's 5-4 for Warren and 5-2 for Dowdle. At receiver, we have Drake London at 6-5, Metcalf 5-4, Pittman 4-9. And other than that, I mean, you have Branch at 3-8, Jimmy Bernard at 3-9. I mean, it's really tough, any of those tertiary options, to say who is going to be, right? At tight end, we have Kyle Pitts at 4-7, Freiermuth at 3-4, and then Darnell Washington at 3K. What do you want to do in this game? This is a game you could probably talk me into the Steelers defense a little bit. I don't really like it, though. The Falcons are going to be run heavy, and you really want a pass-heavy team if you're playing a defense there. You want a team that can turn the ball over, and Bijan's not a guy that turns the ball over a lot. So this is a game I probably want to avoid. If you ask me who I want to play, it'd probably be someone from the Pittsburgh side, some of these PPR guys, maybe like a Pittman, a guy that's going to get a lot of targets from Rodgers this year if he's healthy, right? DK and him are currently hurt, so we'll see what that plays out. But if you ask me, my single favorite play in this game as it stands today, pending health, is probably Michael Pittman.
Yeah, this isn't easy. Like we're not doing it for this purposes, but this is a pass game. You don't touch this game. I don't know what Atlanta's doing at quarterback. I mean, Drake London I think is an elite receiver, but Atlanta is a wait and see team. I don't think like Bijan obviously you can play. I think he's obviously in play at 7-7. Him and Gibbs are like 1A and 1B. I think Bijan's still just a tad behind me for DFS, but yeah, I want to wait in the Atlanta offense. Like I want to see what happens. Who's going to roll out a quarterback? How are they going to look? Because there's some concern with the offense, and Pittsburgh's not like they don't want to be figuring stuff out in Pittsburgh, to be honest with you. So right. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait on the Atlanta side for sure. I think there's interest on Pittsburgh, but they're another wait and see. I don't want to play Pittman. I'm not going to play Pittman, DK Metcalf, Roman Wilson, Pat. I want to see how the offense
is the most interesting because he's going to play big slot. And we know big slots, like we see with Drake London, he's going to get the most targets. He
is the most interesting. Atlanta's hot garbage too.
Pass catching running backs. And I don't know if Dowdle and Warren are the same thing. You're going to get from Gainwell. So maybe you see more targets to Pittman this year.
Yeah. And I think you'll get some Jalen Warren in the pass game as well. Dowdle just doesn't play that role. This is just a tough game to gauge, and I think this screams like no one's gonna be relevant from a DFS angle, Dylan. And they're both like kind of wait and see teams. That's at least my take, and I think maybe the field will be there with me too. So maybe there's a contrarian angle to play, but there's a lot of mystery. There's a lot of mystery in this game, and for me, I'm gonna avoid it.
And like you said, you can't play every game, so no need to play every game either. I agree with you mostly, but it's just a good way to go through every game and build it as your central thesis and work out for you. But let's go to the next game. We have our Carolina Panthers hosting the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams 6-3, Bryce Young 5-2. And I want to talk about this game a little bit because I'm not sure what your thoughts are, but we have DeAndre Swift at 6-1, Hubbard at 5-5, Monunga at 5-1, Brooks 5K flat. At receiver, we have McMillan 6-1, Burden 5-5, Odunze 5-4, Jalen Coker 4-6. Tight end, we have Loveland at 5-3, And then we'll just say Tommy Tremble 2.9, Sanders 2.7, Mitch Evans 2.6. In this game, I'm actually interested in the under. I think, everyone's high on the Bears. The Panthers play so slow. They play so slow. Yeah. Burden is not healthy yet, and he should be healthy for week 1. But you mentioned that could be stagnate the team a little bit. J.C. Horn's an absolute lockdown guy on the outside. Probably going to be on a doomsday, right? But we have a very underrated team as far as like our pace and our pressure on defense. I think our defense is a little bit better than we get credit for, and this game could definitely underwhelm from a fantasy perspective. If you ask me for a stack, it would probably be someone on the Panther side, maybe Bryce Young with Coke or McMillan, because I don't think the Chicago defense is anything to write home about. But the thing about Ben Johnson, and you mentioned this as well, is they're a run-heavy team. If both teams are running, over expectation this game, it's going to take a lot of time off the clock. So for me, this game is mostly going to be in the void, but I'll probably tack it through like a tertiary pass catcher, like a Coke or.
Yeah, and I like that. I think another receiver I would play is on the other side is Roman Dudes at 5'4". I feel like he's just fairly valued, and I hope Burden's back for that because then like Burden will get the A plus.
But Burden mostly plays in and out, right? Like Dudes is going to play that outside, and we know how good J.C. Horn can be.
J.C. Horn's good. I do think that some of the pass catchers. I mean, Ben Johnson wants to put his stamp. Like if he can, he's going to put points on the board. He did. He's learned from Dan Campbell. He's not going to take it easy on teams. I do think, to your point, that you made a good case for the game being slow. I think that could play out here. It could be like a 17-20 game.
You can take it easy on teams. With the Panthers, we made it to the playoffs, and we were in a bad division, but like we are competitive, and Dave Canales does one thing well. He schemes the run really well, and that just slows the game down.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, let's go to another game, a game where I'm going to be heavy on a running back, and I think he's going to get lower ownership than he previously thought because everyone thinks there's a giant committee there. But we have the Cardinals visiting the Chargers. We have Justin Herbert at 6'1", Brissett at 5'1", and then at running back we have Hampton 6'8", Jeremiah Love 6'4", and then we have at receiver we have McConkey 5'9", Wilson 5'3", Harrison 5K flat. Harrison at 5K flat just stands out, right? But I don't know if I'm going to play it here. This is a tough matchup. Trey McBride 6'8", Gatson 3'5". So in this game, my first build was like, I love Hampton, and I still love Hampton, even in the timeshare. And let me explain. I just think that there's no other goal line back on that team other than Hampton, and this is a spot where they're 11-point favorites. I love the pass catchers here, obviously, but I think the way I'm going to play this game is the Chargers defense is very good. The Cardinals are in shambles. I just think this is a tough spot as an opener for the Chargers. I think the Chargers can very much limit the Cardinals under 14 points in this game. So for me, it's going to be a Hampton play. And if I wanted to pay up for defense, Brissett is a gunslinger. He's the perfect guy I like to play defenses against because he's going to turn the ball over. And I think you can see a defensive touchdown in the Chargers as well. So I love the Hampton Chargers defense running back combo. What is your thoughts, though?
Yeah, I'm high in Hampton too. I think he's the 4th best running back on the slate though, and you can only play 3 running backs. So like, to me, like I just don't know if I'll get there. Bijan Robinson is still above him. Chase Brown, I would still put above him, and then obviously Jameer Gibbs we talked about. Like I think Hampton kind of funnels in as number 4 for me, which just means because pricing soft means I'm not going to get a ton of Hampton. I love him though. I think he's going to have an amazing season. He could contend with like a top 3 RB season if the Chargers do what we think they'll do this season. The price is tough. I'm a high on Justin Herbert too. I think Justin Herbert come out here and absolutely shove. I feel like they could put up 34 points, and I think they could put up 34 points, and maybe there's not one individual player that went off. Maybe QJ has a touchdown, Ladd has a touchdown, Hampton.
I'm just like if they're on the goal line a handful of times, you could see this as being a 2-touchdown Hampton game.
Oh yeah, this could be like a 22 carry, 93 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. 2 receptions for.
Nothing's worse when you guys get 99 yards and you're like, dude, give me 1 yard. Give me 1 yard.
And they go backwards and you're like, God
damn it. Yeah. I agree with you in this game as well. Let's go to the next. This is just a fun for me and you to do. No one's even in, but we'll keep on keeping on. So we have the Packers visiting the Minnesota Vikings. We have Jeremiah Love 5'7", Kyler Murray 5'5", confirmed starter now. We have at running back, we have Josh Jacobs 6'3", pending suspension. I think he's going to be fine. But Jordan Mason 5'4", Aaron Jones 5'3". At receiver, we have Justin Jefferson 7'3", Watson 5'9", Addison 5'8", Reed 4'9", Golden 4'7". And then at tight end, I think Kraft's going to be good to go to start the season. He's 4-5. Hawkinson at 3-3. This is a game where I really don't know. And you can build this essential thesis because I think people see, you look at the Vikings defense, it has that first against them. It would be very interesting to see a late night team with a Jordan Love stack. Kind of doing wonders here. Golden, Watson. It's just a fun team to stack up. I don't think I'll do it because I still trust in the KOC and that defense over there. So I don't know if I'm gonna play this game. But if you ask me as a fun stack, it would definitely be getting that Green Bay stack going and seeing, especially if Jacobs is not there to start the season. I think that's a fun way to attack it. What are your thoughts on this game, though?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm high in Green Bay, so I do like them this season. I think it is going to be hyper contrarian, though, and that's the thing. I think it's like, the ownership games, you're going to win that for sure. I don't love it. This does feel like a low scoring affair to me. Green Bay is generally pretty slow too with Josh Jacobs, and if he's there, I think they'll be pretty slow. You mentioned this, but like Minnesota, I don't know what the offense is going to look like. How slow are they going to run with KOC and with Kyler Murray there? I think there's enough question marks for me just to avoid this spot. With that said, I do think I lean to the Green Bay side. I am high on Jordan Love in the pass catchers, like Jordan Love, Golden, and Watson, or like Jordan Love, Golden, and Kraft. I think there's two ways to kind of attack that, but I'm in on it. Again, this won't be because of how I built the Entry Max. I won't get here, but I think it's an interesting game from like a leverage perspective.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Leverage is the name of the game. And like I said, do I have the cojones to do this in a single? Probably not, but definitely don't mind the Green Bay stack, especially in the afternoon only slate. Let's go to another game. I'm kind of low on both these teams. I was pretty high in Washington to start the season. I've kind of faltered on that a little bit. We have the Washington Commanders visiting the Philadelphia Eagles. Hurts is 6'6", Jay Daniels 6'5". We have Barkley 6'9", JCM 5'3", White 5'2". At receiver, we have Smith 6'6", McLaurin 5'7", Diggs 5'2". And then at tight end, we have Goddard 4'1", Chig 4K. This is a game where I just like both teams, another run-heavy teams. And listen, I think Washington could be pretty bad to start the season, to be honest with you. And this is a tough spot against the Eagles as well. A decent defense in their own right. And I think the Eagles love to slow the game down. They're just not a high-flying offense. And I just don't know if that's going to be much of the same this year. So if you ask me my favorite play in this game, it would actually be probably Saquon Barkley. I just think like while he's healthy, play him. This is a spot I think the Eagles could probably win at home. Barkley's probably going to get 15 to 20 touches pretty safely there. And if he scores, Barkley's a guy that sometimes I overlook, but he always has these explosives, and he has a couple of explosives here. He can break the slate. So
play him early in the season too. I think it makes sense to play him early in the season.
So he'd be my priority. But all in all, I probably wouldn't target this game at a high clip.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I like Barkley a lot. Again, I'm targeting these running backs when I know they're healthy and there's no injury concern, because this is kind of the best time when they're going to get a full workload. Let them get stretched out. I will play Washington points this season. I want to see how Jaden Daniels looks. He's been kind of in the news a little bit too much for the off-the-field stuff. You don't love to see that, but
just like it's not really him as much. It's like he's
fine. I have a lot of Terry McLaurin shares, and I want to see how they look together. But I think Jaden Daniels is still an elite top 5 potential quarterback in the NFL. So I want to see how it plays out here. I think this could be a tough sledding rivalry division matchup to start the season. Could be a defensive battle, as you mentioned. So we'll see. I think even if it's not defensive battle, it could be just a slower game in general. But yeah, I think that's it. We got one more game. One
of my favorite games. Let's get to it. We have the one and only Malik Willis. I love him, but he's only 5'3" in this slate. We have Kirk Cousins, probably gonna be the starter at 5K. Mendoza's the same price, but I don't think you see Mendoza start week 1, barring some kind of Kirk injury. A-Chain is 7K, Genty 6'6". At receiver, we have Naylor 4'3". This is just the receivers are so cheap. The Naylor is the most expensive receiver in this game. 4'3". Washington's 4'2". Trucker's 4K. Betch is 3.6. Probably doesn't matter, right? But I'm just saying those guys are very cheap if you need any bit of value. At tight end, Brock Bowers is very expensive. The most expensive is 6.9, and then Dolchich is 3.5. I love Malik Willis in this game. I love pairing him with Dolchich. I just think this is a game where you could definitely go Willis, Dolchich, and maybe Genty coming back. The Dolphins' defense is pretty good, but I mean, I just see a spot in which like the Raiders are competent on offense. Their defense, even in preseason with the starters, looked so bad. It looks so bad. The secondary looks so bad. And people just always look at Malik Willis as a just rushing first. He's got a good arm, and he showed that a little bit in the preseason. He's got the contender with Max Crosby, but all in all, price adjusted, Malik Willis is probably my favorite quarterback play on the slate. I don't mind even going Malik Willis, Brock Bowers, that combination, right? Yeah. But any receiver, any option in this team is very interesting to me, because if Malik Willis throws 2 touchdowns, you probably want to get one of these receivers. Everyone's sub 4K, which is for the slate. So what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, Malik Willis and Greg Dulcich will probably just be a mainstay. They may not leave the team. I just feel like this is the time to buy right now. The prices are pretty cheap. Greg Dulcich, to me, could turn into like a 4 or 5 tight end. I think he's a guy that could turn into like a mini Jake Ferguson. He was all uber talented going when they brought him in for Denver. Like everyone thought he'd be like a next great tight end, not like Brock Bowers great, but like who am I thinking? Like maybe David Njoku at his height, great. Like
Yeah.
I think Greg Dulcich could be that guy, and he could potentially lead the team in touchdowns this season from the receiving end. And I think that may be the case. I want to buy here on them a lot. The Raiders. I like Brock Bowers. 6'9" is pretty expensive though. And I think the running backs that are 6'9", like give me Hampton 10 times out of 10 over Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
And so like that when I'm in between those prices, it's just easy for me to click the running back in a spot where they just probably nuke. So, yeah, man, I'm in on this game though. Malik Willis and Greg Dulcich will be big stands for me. Not standing for me as Painter.
Painter standing on the toilet. Throwing up right now.
This is what you're getting. I mean, the DK algorithm strikes again. They're like, this is why we priced him so low.
Yeah, we know there's a lot of volatility there. But Nick Lodell is pitching well for me. I might be able to sneak a second team through now because of that, but we'll see. I mean, it's a long slate, long day. Interested. It's funny in my best ball team, my underdog, my team that's sneaking up. I have a Jordan that just has 0 points for me in 2 weeks, which is just like 0. He scored 0.
He's been horrible. I don't understand.
But thanks, guys. If you come back and watch this should be evergreen for a couple of weeks before week 1. But we're gonna jump back in week of, break it down. We'll be back every day during this week, break down some baseball.
Every day. Yep. Let's do it, man.
But thanks for tuning in. We'll be back.
Yeah.
We'll see you in a bit.
Yeah, I'll see you in a little bit, man. When are you guys cooking?
Soon. It'll be early tonight.
Nice, good call.